Welcome in episode number 99 3/4. We're almost there. We got NBA final stuff to talk about. We're tied, baby. 2 games apiece. We'll tell you how we got here and what we expect for the rest of these NBA finals. Zach is joining me from the Bear Cave out there in Zachville. We have college football only a couple months away. We'll touch on some stuff briefly before we get out of here, and we'll get you ready for the rest of the NBA finals. Zach, how we doing on this Be Happy Sunday?
We're doing good. I'm feeling oddly confident in our ability to win both the games at home.
I like that call.
That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I like that call. Let's get into this real quick, because this is going to be obviously kind of the main topic of discussion as I open up stuff here. Look, we're 4 games in. We're tied, but we're not really here in the traditional sense of the word tied here, right? Nobody protected their home court throughout the duration of this 2-2 tie. And that's kind of put this series in kind of an interesting spot, because even though we're now staring at the Thunder having 2 home games out of the 3 remaining, it's not exactly one of those things where you can sit here and go, well, for sure they're going to go ahead and finish this thing off in 7, and we're going to be talking about, parade plans here. But that's not really set in stone here, is it?
No, I mean, it's not set in stone, but I like our chances. I feel like if I was a fan of a different team, of neither of these teams, then I would probably be putting money on OKC.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to stick with, I was watching Nerd Sesh podcast.
Yes, and, very familiar with the Nerd Boys.
Yeah, they both, at least one of them seems to think after game 3, and he said Thunder in 6. I think they're gonna win it out, and that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. I feel like we're just gonna, after the game 3 loss, I think we're gonna sweep and just win 3 in a row. So I'm thinking we're winning game 5, and I think we're gonna win the ring in Indiana. That's how I'm feeling right now. I don't see a world that we lose game 5.
Yeah, I would not bet against that right now as far as how I'm feeling momentum wise here. But let's just kind of recap how we got here. Game 1, what can we say about game 1? You led for 47 minutes, 59 seconds, and 0.7 tenths of a second until you lose your fourth quarter lead going into it. They outscore you 35-25 in the fourth quarter, and Halliburton does it again. You have the Halliburton come in and hit that little midi there to go up 1-0, and I think you and I both after that game were just kind of like, yeah, we didn't take the comeback ability of this team seriously, because they were coming back against Eastern Conference competition, and we're a team that's only lost 1 game to the Eastern Conference, and to be honest doesn't really count because it was in the NBA play-in tournament, or sorry, in season tournament. To Milwaukee. I just kind of felt like we thought, not us. Our defense is too good. There's no way that this team is going to do it. And lo and behold, boom, bop, bam, you get slapped in the ham. Was that kind of your takeaway?
Yeah, I think it was playing lazy in the fourth quarter, especially in those last couple of minutes. I mean, you had a 10-point lead with 2 minutes to go. You can't squander that. You got to hold that ball. Not to mention the fact fouling up 3 kind of gave them the opportunity for that. So not happy with the game 1, but it's kind of one of those things where you're like, okay, Indiana wins game 1 and basically a miracle, right? I mean, it's 99 times out of 100 they don't get that comeback in that fashion. So when you think about it that way, and you think about, how miraculous that victory was, it just makes you realize that the series really should be 3-1 going back to OKC. Now, I would say Pacers fans can probably say the same thing about game 4. But I don't know if I believe that just based on how much better our defense is than theirs. But Pacers fans definitely feel like they got robbed in game 4. So I can understand why they also think they should be up 3-1 going into game 5.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. And then so you have that happen, and you have to rebound from that to try to split it. And so that Sunday, they did take care of business. The bench went buku bananas crazy. You win by 16. You look really good. There's everything that you could have asked this team to look like in game 1 happened again, but this time they closed the deal. Still got outscored in the fourth by 3, but were able to jump on them early, and I think that was kind of a big boost, and they were able to hold on there in the end to get it done. Was that kind of your takeaway from game 2 a little bit?
Yeah, game 2 is, I think, probably the best example of how much better role players play at home than they do on the road. You get big games from Alex Caruso, you get a big game from Aaron Wiggins. Just guys coming off the bench. One, I want to point out, like, one thing in particular that I noticed in game 2 was it seemed like Cason Wallace was a lot better earlier in the series than he's been in games 3 and 4. Like, he hasn't made a 3 yet in the finals. He's like 0 of 9 or something like that. And that's kind of concerning me because I feel like we're going to need him for this game 5. But I also kind of think we might be due for a big Cason Wallace game, considering how absent he's been offensively. He's still great on the defensive end, and I still want him and Caruso coming off the bench together. Um, that's a whole nother thing though about this like starting lineup, because obviously Cason was in the starting lineup for game 2. He was in the starting lineup for game 3. Game 4, we switched to the original starting lineup, double bid Hartenstein, Chet, instead of having Hartenstein on the bench or in Cason taking that starting spot. I just I don't know how I feel about it. But I think one of the most underrated things that people miss when they talk about how we should be going back, or how we shouldn't go back to the double bid lineup, and how we should have Cason or Caruso starting. I don't think they understand how impactful it is to have Caruso and Cason coming into the game at the same time, and how that lineup, usually with like J Dub running the offense, or with even Alex Caruso running the offense at times, um, that is almost our death lineup. If especially if SGA is in, sometimes it's SGA, Caruso, Cason, Chet, Hartenstein, and I like that double big lineup right there. But I tend to be more in the favor of just sticking with the continuity, going with the starting lineup that we've had all season. And I think that game 5 we're not going to see a change. I think it's going to be the same. And if we do see a change, I think it's going to be Caruso instead of Cason Wallace.
Yeah, you could be right about that. But yeah, no, I think that's exactly kind of what I also saw in that game. And then game 3, I mean, I guess we can just label that as the Benedict Mathurin game, because my boy went buku bananas crazy and just couldn't miss. Drops 27 off the bench, and our bench disappeared. But again, this is the first finals game in Indiana in 25 years. That crowd was juiced. Everything was leaning towards Indiana winning this game, but yet all I was hearing leading up into it was how we were going to win this. I mean, every talking head, Stephen A, Perk, Bob Myers, all those dumbasses, they picked us, and I don't know. And look, going into the fourth up 5, maybe I was like, okay, maybe we can squeeze this one out and then get cooked in game 4. I was just, I knew they were going to take one of these, because I just felt like going in, and we agreed with this, that they were going to at least get one at home. Now, obviously, we didn't plan on, us losing a game at home or any of this happening. And of course, the series has gone way past where we thought we'd be heading into game 5. But as far as us being right about them winning a home game, they've done that. they've won their one home game. And, like you said, a lot of people are picking us to win the next two, and they're not going to win another home game. That's what a lot of people are looking at right now. I just don't know because of the way the Pacers have been playing. It seems like their defense has gone up a notch. It seems like, that game 3, they were wearing Shea down with that full court press, 94 feet of Nimbard up in your jock, really getting up in your personal space, and then waiting behind him was Ben Shepherd. I mean, two young guys that I feel like are going to have very illustrious NBA careers, as vital pieces of probably several highly contending playoff teams in their career, whether it be with the Pacers or not. I feel like they bring those kind of assets to any roster. And it seemed to be bugging Shea. He seemed tired going into that last quarter, and you get blown off the floor by 14 points in the fourth quarter, and that's how you end up losing by 9 and not looking like a team that had a lot of juice going into game 4. I mean, was that kind of your same takeaway from that game, or did you see something else different that I'm not bringing up?
I mean, nothing really different. I mean, game 3, I think the biggest issue for me was just how tired Shea looked at the end of that game. And I think it was obvious. I mean, pretty much everybody was pointing it out that he was just gassed and he wasn't able to stay as effective on the defensive end as he normally is. So he let a couple get by. He's getting hunted at the end of game 3 by Tyrese Halliburton ISOs and Nemhard ISOs. I mean, you saw what Nemhard did to SGA in game 3. That tween, step back.
It was
Like
gross. It was like, where did he get that? When did he get that in his bag? Like, I didn't see. I mean,
he's had that in his bag, and that's the problem is that we didn't prepare for that because he's had that in his bag. Andrew Nemhard is an offensive powerhouse at late in games, especially. And he's making a name for himself. And let me tell you something, he's about to get paid.
Oh yeah, he is. Gonna get paid, baby. Yeah, no.
And you know who else is going to get paid that I thought was just a big part of game 3? TJ McConnell.
He gonna get his too. Yeah, he also looked really,
the inbounds
really good.
were crazy.
Yeah,
those inbound steals were insane, man. Like that was the game. That was the game for me. Like that was the game. And the possessions that he did that on were so important, and it felt like that was the game.
Yeah, and the thing is you say that, but like every time he did that, like the first time he did it, it cut our lead to 2. Second time he did it, it extended their lead to like 5 or something. Like it felt more monumental than the scoreboard was showing, but like you said, the momentum was just shifted it so much, and it just locked them in, and we just didn't have a chance of regaining our breath or our footing, and it snowballed, and you're down 1-2 to a team that a lot of people thought going in here, because I don't know ball, we're gonna sweep, or gentlemen sweep, and it was gonna be sunshine, rainbows, and candy corn, and it just hasn't been that. And that leads us to the game most recent Friday night, where going into the fourth quarter, you're not leading, you're looking behind the 8 ball, and you go out and you decide to win the first fourth quarter of this series, and you do it emphatically, and you lock them down to only 17 points in the fourth quarter. They shoot 0 of 6 from 3 in the fourth quarter. I mean, which again, not really had anything to do with the defense, I don't think, because a lot of those were wide open looks. But I mean, it just, that feeling going into that fourth quarter, Zach, was not something where I was sitting there going, yeah, we've got this. It was like, oh God, this could get absolutely horrible. And people are like, what happened? Well, you tell me, Zach, what did you see? Because I've got my opinion, but I want to hear yours first.
So, I mean, game 4 was, I think we all agree as OKC fans, probably the most important game in OKC history. Like, it's like since, moving to OKC at least.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like the most important game of the franchise. It was the most important game of everyone on that floor's career, except for maybe like some of the champions that were already there, like Thomas Bryant and Alex Caruso. But for everybody else, this is the most important game of their lives. And for me, it felt like game 4 is the game. Like game 4 is the championship. That's what it felt like to me. I think the Pacers lost all the momentum they have the second that they lost the home court advantage that they had. Because I think that was what we were all scared of, really. I think we all knew that. I think we all think, and I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm pretty confident that OKC is going to win Game 5. Just because of being back at home and the momentum of stealing one in the fourth quarter like that. But through those first 3 quarters of Game 4, I think every Thunder fan just thought it was over. I mean, we and the thing is, we were in the game the whole time. We were never out of it.
Yeah.
Not for a second were we out of that game, but they were just playing so bad. I mean, 3 3 pointers in the entire game, 3 of 17.
Well, going into the
After
fourth, only
starting one of
two.
12.
Yeah, going into the fourth, only two. Only
Yeah,
two going into the fourth.
starting 1 of 12, and then it just seems like SGA kind of just flips a switch. Um, SGA finishes this game with 0 assists.
Yep.
And that's a problem that he had in Game 3 too. It's like he's not trusting his teammates in late game situations anymore, which I don't necessarily blame him.
Yeah, we've been horrible late game.
It's like he's playing Kobe ball right now in the fourth quarter, and that's why Kobe's so great. But it's also why Kobe got so much shit for not passing the ball. That's kind of how SGA's been handling these clutch moments in Game 3 and Game 4. And in Game 3, I think it cost them the game. I mean, SGA, if he had just taken some smarter shots, could have easily cut that lead down. And then in Game 4, honestly, he's taking the same shots, but he's just making them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it starts with that step back 3 he hits on the right wing. Second, that falls, and it's down to a 3-point game, I think, or a 4-point game.
1-point game.
Oh, 1-point game.
Yeah,
That's right.
It was 101
I think
to
that was
105. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where the momentum really comes from. Is the fact that okay, we can get the lead. There's a little bit of time left. We just have to win like 4 minutes, or like it was like 3 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
I think SGA just kind of put the team on his back. 15 points in the last 5 minutes of the game. 8 of those were free throws, and I think 6 of those were either intentional or techs. I think the six intentional free throws on SGA at the end, and then got 2 off the shot.
He had 4 free throws heading
he
into
he finished 10 of 10.
Yeah, he had 4 heading into the fourth quarter, and like you said, most of those were intentional foul free throws. They weren't even. They had 2 that were on a shot late there with 44 seconds to go. That was to kind of make it a 2-possession game and really put the Pacers behind the 8 ball. And I will correct myself. That 3 made it 102-103. So it was 99 to 103, and then he hits that 3, and that was the last 3 that we made the whole rest of the night. Because like you said, then it's a 14-foot step back. Then it's Lou Dort getting fouled after he steals it and making 2 free throws there. Then it's free throws by Shea. Then it's another free throw by Shea. Then it's another free throw by. I mean, literally, like the last 7 or 8 points were all free throws by either Shea or Lou Dort. Like nobody else. There weren't any like shots that were really taken there in the last 3 minutes, other than that 3 that he hits, and then it was just free throw. But no, you are right. You are right. This is exactly kind of what you're saying happened, which is he decided not to pass the ball, and he ends up with 0 assists for the first time in 5 years. This is the first time in 5 years, first time in a Thunder jersey that he doesn't record an assist, and it paid off for him this time. But just kind of tell me how important it was for also Benedict Mathurin to miss 3 free throws in a row there late that could have really put them in a chance to still win that game.
I mean, I'm really blaming Rick Carlisle on this one. You don't play Benedict Mathurin very much in this game, and then he doesn't play much in the second half at all. And then basically he subs in, and it's like, hey, make these free throws to like ice the game or like try to tie the game back. Like you got to hit 4 like clutch free throws, and he just doesn't. I mean, he finishes the game with 5 of 8 from the free throw line, but the 3 that he missed were the last 3 of the game that he needed. Now, as a Thunder fan, I think we all kind of, as soon as he missed that first free throw, we're like,
yeah,
like they can't bring it within 3 now. Like now it's 4. Like now it's at best a 4-point lead, and he misses that second one, and I think that's the moment a lot of us probably felt safe. Now it is the Pacers, so I didn't really feel safe at all. But I think a lot of us probably did feel safe when Benedict Mathurin misses those free throws.
Yeah.
And it really reminds me of game one because you have Chet missing free throws in
Yeah.
game one.
Yeah, that's true.
Like this, it's oddly mirrored of game one. And another thing I want to point out about this series is it's a carbon copy of the Denver series. I mean, game one ending on a buzzer beater where we choke the game away. Game two blowout at home that we steal. Game three we lose in miserable fashion.
Hmm.
And then game four we make an improbable comeback and win the game, which is exactly what happened in the Denver series.
Yeah.
So if anything, if we've learned anything, that means we're winning this thing in seven. But game five should be a blowout.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because this will be the first time Indiana possibly loses 2 games in a row since March or something like that. Like it just something crazy.
Yeah,
And we
they've been
haven't lost
insane.
back to back since the playoffs started. So we knew something had to give, and now we're here at this impasse. But you're right about the Mathurin free throws. He checks in with 44 seconds to go, Zach, and he goes to the line where it's 107, 103 and misses a pair that could have cut it to 2. And then you have the intentional foul to make it 108, 103, and then you have Jalen Williams fouling Benedict Mathurin again, and he goes and misses 3 in a row, then makes the second. I mean, it's just those tied up plays right there, and like you said, you kind of have to put the blame on Rick Carlisle's plate there because it's like it didn't really. I mean, if that's Aaron Nesmith who he subbed in for, probably not missing those free throws. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I just
Well, yeah, you're right. He's
But
probably not
but
missing
but he
those
but
free
he
throws.
had
But
but he
more
had to come in
importantly,
though. He had to come in though because Nesmith fouled out. You have to remember that. There was no.
well, yeah, no,
Yeah,
he had to come in.
yeah,
But my point is like he just gave you 27 in game three. You got to give him some burn.
yeah, and he didn't play
And
any
like
minutes. Yeah, they didn't play any minutes.
so
Yeah,
here's what I'm seeing. Like
no rhythm.
he
Yeah,
played 13 minutes. Like he played 13 minutes, but they were not consistent and they weren't his normal minutes and his normal rotations. And he only gets 2 shots up. He makes one of them. And he's 50% from the field. He gets 2 shots up. He doesn't have any time to get going. So he ends up with what 8 points, because he gets a three. He gets a three down, and then he knocks down 5 free throws and gets fouled a bunch. And most of those are at the end. But you can't just expect the guy to be able to go in and hit free throws like that. And I think it's probably a great coaching decision by Mark to say, if we are going to foul somebody and give them free throws, it needs to be Benedict Mathurin because he hasn't gotten much time and he's not going to be ready. He's not warmed up. He hasn't seen it go in.
yeah. I mean,
I just don't
yeah.
understand why you're playing Aaron Nesmith 30 minutes when you could be playing Benedict Mathurin, 21 minutes and Aaron Nesmith 22, 23 minutes.
Well, I mean, to me,
I don't know why you don't give Benedict Mathurin that opportunity to
redo
extend
it.
the streak
Yeah,
he had going in game three.
yeah. I mean,
That's what
yeah.
series are made of. And I think that's going to cost them. I really do think this is going to cost them the series is the move of not playing Benedict Mathurin as much as they did in game three.
Well, and I don't know if you were paying attention for the regular season as much as far as the Pacers were going, but you have to understand when Halliburton wasn't playing, Benedict Mathurin was their 3rd leading scorer until he came back from injury, and that was months. I mean, so it wasn't like the guy was not used to putting the ball in the basket. And like you said, that's a big change from 22 minutes in game 3 because, he's cooking, I'm going to leave him in. And then you play him, like you said, 13 minutes, and, he only takes 2 shots, like you said, which is uncharacteristic for, a guy that you think should still be on a heater possibly. And I get leaving Nesmith in because of the fact he's been shooting so well from 3, and you're like, oh, I need that out there. And he hasn't really let them down until that. I mean, everybody let him down in that 4th quarter, 0 of 6 from 3, but I'm saying like he hadn't done anything like that in this whole entire playoffs. It's not just this series. I mean, he's just been that dude that's just been out there waiting to just catch and shoot those puppies, and he's been cooking. So I don't really blame Rick Carlisle for being like, I would rather have Nesmith in there than someone like Benedict Mathurin, who obviously, looking at these numbers, is inconsistent. But again, like you said, you didn't let him get into a rhythm. You didn't give him the opportunity to be like, look, you played your balls off in game 3. And maybe they were just like, they're going to expect you to come out there and try to do the same thing. And maybe they thought that was going to put a wrench in their game plan. I don't know. But I do agree with you. I think that solely rests on Rick Carlisle's, blame plate, and I think that you have to look at that, like you said, as a sign that if they lose this series, that could be the mistake they made. But I don't think we're gonna know that until we, see what happens here in this game 5. Because if you drop game 5, I don't know how you feel heading back to Indiana trying to steal another one. I just wouldn't feel great about that. So I'm hoping that they just take care of business. What are you expect? Like, who are you expecting tomorrow to really step up and bring that extra level of, play for the Thunder on Monday?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Aaron Wiggins. I mean, I think it's going to be a combination actually of Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe. They don't get much time in Game 4 because they're kind of on that short leash where it's like you're not. If you go in for 8 minutes and you don't score at least twice, or if Isaiah Joe goes in and misses his first two threes, like they're probably not playing anymore. Um, so I think that what we're going to see is those bench players be a lot more active with the home crowd backing them. That's what we typically see. So Aaron Wiggins, for example, gets like 17 points in game 2. I'm expecting that again because when you look at what he did in game 4, I mean, 0 of 3, he hits 1 of 2 free throws. He finishes with 1 point in 8 minutes. Like, if you get 17 from Aaron Wiggins, then that game's not even close, right? So I think Aaron Wiggins probably going to give you at least 15 tomorrow. And I think Isaiah Joe's probably going to hit 2 or 3 threes. Now, we've also seen Isaiah Joe come in and hit 4 threes in a row and just give us boom 12 right there. And I think he has the ability to do that, but he's only going to do it at home. And
Yeah.
like you said, the bench has to step up. They haven't been their normal selves. I mean, we're basically down to 6 guys that are like playable for
Mhm.
offense and defense right now. And it's our starting lineup, our
And
typical starting lineup, not
and
the one with Kaysen, and
yeah,
then Alex
Alex
Caruso,
Caruso. Yeah.
and then just the defensive half of Kaysen Wallace. Like, and I would say even like Kenrich
Yeah,
Williams is
Kenrich had
kind
a
of
good game.
trustworthy. Like
Kenrich had a good game. He
he's
he
he's just not making mistakes, is I think
yeah.
is the big thing. He's
Yeah.
not making mistakes, and his minutes have been valuable. So he plays 11 minutes in game 4. And he gives you 4 points on 2 of
Assist.
4 shooting. He gives you an assist and he gives you 3 boards. He's a +7. We win the game by 7. Um, he's he misses a 3, but like I like Kenny Hustle being in the game. I think at home we're probably going to see a little bit of J Will too. Just because I think he feeds off that home crowd, and if he hits a 3, I want him to get another one.
Yeah.
He can make his threes if they're open, even if they're not open. I mean, I've seen him drop 30, like
Yeah, yeah,
he can do it.
we've seen him do it.
Um, yeah, so I would like to see Jay Will get a couple minutes. I'm talking like 3, and then
Yeah,
see if he
yeah.
makes a 3 or not. And then, Isaiah Joe, give him 5 minutes, see what happens. I want to see Aaron Wiggins play a little bit more than he did. Um, I'm probably switching like Kenrich minutes with Aaron Wiggins minutes. Kenrich played 11 minutes. Aaron Wiggins played 8. Probably switching that. It's giving Aaron Wiggins a little bit more burn. Um, but I think you probably I don't. I think the big lineup issue that everyone's looking at going into Game 5 is obviously the Hartenstein thing. He has not been good offensively at all. He's been not there offensively. I mean, he plays 21 minutes in game 4. He starts, and he's 1 of 3 for 2 points. He's a -7. He has 3 assists, 6 boards. So like, it's not like he's bad
No,
necessarily,
no,
but
but just not up to what
he's
we're
not
used
really an
to.
option
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
offense.
We're not used to
And he's
seeing that.
not like what happened to the floater? What happened to the little floater?
They're
It's not
taking it
it's
away
not there
from him,
anymore. I don't know if the
baby. They're
Pacers.
taking it away
Well,
from
I
him.
think Rick Carlisle is taking it away, so that kind of ruins his offensive abilities. The only thing that so now it's basically like him or
Rebounding.
Chet
Yeah,
at
it's
center,
it's
right?
well, it's just
And it's
rebounding.
like, what's he better at than Chet? Rebounding and setting screens.
Yeah. So I mean,
So
it's still valuable to have
he's
him
not
out
going to get the
there.
burn that he's not used to.
Yeah.
I think he plays 15 minutes.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I think you play him 15 minutes. I think you play
you
Caruso
have to start him though.
35.
You have to start him. You have to start him.
I don't know. He might just be better off that. off that bench role. But I don't care if he comes off the bench or not. I don't
Yeah,
care if Hartenstein starts or not.
yeah,
I just want Caruso to have 35 minutes. And
yeah,
if it's
yeah.
you start, 3 minutes into the game,
Yeah,
I'm cool
Caruso
with
off the
that.
bench. Yeah, no, Caruso has been fantastic. I mean, back to back 20-point games for him after not scoring a single 20-point game all regular season. I mean, that's why you got him. That's why you signed him. That's why you brought him in here, is because when it matters the most, that man's just a pure absolute dog. And he's just, I mean, he's been
He
throwing.
just doesn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, he didn't even be showing things. I mean, that Euro step in game 4 was gross. I mean, it's just, I mean, just stuff that you're just like, you have waited to pull this out till now. And I appreciate that because, it throws teams off. They're not ready for it. And, as much as you and TJ McConnell look like PE teachers out there trying to get it done, I mean, they've both been fantastic. And it's been surprising to me to see,
Yeah.
how each team has leaned on those guys, but also just shows the value of having guys off the bench that really really have that just like they're just gamers. They're just gamers. Like, I mean, like, they probably don't show you much
Yeah.
in the regular season. They probably don't show you much in practice, but you put them in these situations and it's like, holy crap. I mean, and some guys feed off of that, and I think those are two prime examples of guys that do. So for me personally, I think, like you said, I think it comes down to Alex Caruso and giving him major minutes. But I'm kind of going to go with you here and say that maybe we're just kind of in time going to be looking at a Cason Wallace game where he hits 3 threes. I think this could be a good spot for him to get
Mhm.
back on track, and I think it'd be a good sign, possibly heading into a game 7. But let's get down to brass tacks here, Zach. I mean, are we thinking that this team has the ability to win 3 straight here? I mean, is that even on the table for you mentally, or are you locked into this? It's 90% going 7, just probably bank on that. How are you feeling on that spectrum? Like, where are you at?
I mean, I think we're going to win in 6. I think we're going to win game 5, and I think the pressure is just going to be so much in game 6. And I don't think Indiana's going to get it done. I mean, I don't know, man. It's taken some pretty damn good games from Indiana to win in this series. And if we're being honest, I think game 4 was their chance. Like that was their only chance. You have 2 wins. You can go up 3-1 before going into game 5, which everyone knows it. Like, the Thunder are not going to lose game 5. It just doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So
But you
I
don't
think
want them
Indiana
thinking
knew
that, though. You
they
don't.
wanted it's either if it's even going into game 5 for Indiana, that's not a good thing, because you're almost confirming it's going to be a 3-2 lead going back to Indiana. Um, and you have to win at home. And that's a lot of, even at home, it's so much pressure in that elimination game. And I just don't see them having the talent. I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think if the Thunder win back to back here, it's going to be pretty demoralizing. So I'm going to be honest. I think I thought this about game 4, and I'm going to say the same thing about game 5. But I think whoever wins game 5 is the winner, right? Like, they're winning the chip, because I think if whoever has that 3-2 lead, they're going to win their home game. Now, for OKC, that might be game 7, um, which that's going to be tough, but we've been in a game 7 this playoffs. The Pacers have not. The Pacers have not faced elimination yet. Um, and I think that's a pressure situation that they're not going to be ready for. And especially considering it's going to be in OKC, considering what we did in game 7 to Denver, I would be very confident in OKC winning a game 7. But I really do think that we're going to win game 5 here, win a back to back on game 4 and game 5. And then I think game 6, I'm just going to say that we have we got some killers on the team. I think SJ is a killer, and I think he's going to smell blood in the water in game 6. If they know that the Larry O'Brien's is in the building, ready to be handed out, I think that the Thunder are going to
You
pull that one out.
you don't think classic Shea throwing the game to come back home to win it? And
I don't think you do that
no
for
more,
game 7.
no
I
more
thought that's
throwing
what game
games.
3 was.
No more throwing
I thought
games.
that's what game 3 was going to be until we
Yeah.
lost game 1.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, no, look. I'm. I don't know how much in the camp I am of winning 3 straight here and really ridding the the season of the Pacers and bringing home the gold here. I I feel really good about game 5, but I don't want the boys to feel good about game 5. I don't want them to feel like this is a done deal because you're at home and you're supposed to have this, because I felt like that's kind of how they went into game 1. Now, granted, like I said, I think they weren't thinking about the Pacers being able to come back against them because we're the best defense in the league. You're not going to come back against us in our house. No shot. I think that confidence is obviously gone. But I think they still have that confidence level of being at home and thinking, this is where we're supposed to get it done. Like this is lined up for us to just happen for us. I don't want them to think that. I want them to kind of think, if you lose this game, you're not in a good spot. And not that I'm thinking there's going to be a repeat of game 1, because again, very unusual circumstances, very unusual mindset heading in there. That's gone out the window. We're way past that. I do think though that it sets up very nicely for us to win this next game tomorrow, and I think that if we do, the pressure's going to be on, like you said, and they haven't faced it, and it's a different kind of feel for them. But I just I'm in this camp. It's gonna take 7 at this point. I feel like we kind of deserve 7 because people were shitting on how bad this series was gonna be, just how shit these games were gonna be. And no offense, I haven't seen it yet. I mean, you can tell me that game 2 was boring. You can tell me that, but I think everybody kind of knew what to kind of expect as far as the energy level and mentality of this team coming off of such a shocking loss. You had to have it that way, and it had to be that way to kind of recenter your mentality and to recenter yourself and be like, all right, like we know what we can be. This is what we should have happened last time. Like let's just get past that. So I'm feeling a lot better about people's opinions of this series, because other than that game, it's been very competitive. I think I did the math, and I think out of 190 minutes of basketball we've played, 102 of them have been highly competitive, and that's me throwing out, three and a half quarters of play in game 3 and all of game 2. That's me throwing all those minutes out of there because people can say, oh, it's kind of a snooze fest. But I think it's gonna go 7 just because I think that it just is gonna need to. But I'm kind of with you. I'm interested to see how Indiana responds at home if they are in that position, because like you said, they haven't been there before.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't think they're ready for it. And I think that it's been a nice run. They're gonna be back. I think everybody is expecting that the Pacers will be back.
Yeah,
Tyrese Halliburton's not
especially
done.
because Tatum is out all next season. I think people forget that. Like he's not going to be back late in the season.
Like Pacers
He's
should
done.
be the favorites in the East next season. I think like them or the Cavs should probably be the favorite in the East next season.
Yeah,
or the Magic. We saw what happened with the Magic.
Yeah, hey. We can touch on that later. We'll get into off-season stuff when the time is right. I think we just gotta kind of lock in here with this because it's not even like big name really moving. If you want the blurb, folks, here's the blurb. Bane to the Magic, KCP to the Grizzlies, and a bag of chips, and Cole Anthony, hooray! Like it's not really a big move. I think for the Grizzlies, I think it does boost their defense up a little bit more. But KCP is like an aging veteran guy. Like I don't really see him giving you what Bane gave you offensively. So I don't think you really improve much if you're the Grizzlies. And if you're the Magic, you lose like a key role player, but I don't think I think you get a guy off the bench that can score. I don't know if he's starting. Do you think Bane will start for? Yeah, he will. Okay. Well, you get a guy that can shoot some threes. He inconsistent in the playoffs, but regular season guy that can knock down some threes. They need somebody to spread the floor a little bit. So that's the only thing we have going on right now. If you guys want to know about that, but that's all the time we're going to spend on that. Zach, you wanted to talk a little bit about college football because it's around the corner, folks. We're only 2 months away from getting this thing kicked off. What did you kind of want to touch on in the college football world here?
Nothing besides what I've been hearing about John Mateer.
Oh, what have
You know,
what have you been
we're
hearing
obviously
about?
looking at OU.
Yeah.
We're obviously looking at only OU right now. I mean, it's June. It's June. I'm only looking at OU. You don't expect me to pay attention to other teams yet. Um, Mateer seems to be a guy. Um, seems to be skill set wise another Baker Mayfield. Seems to have legs that are good to get third down conversions anytime he wants to. And apparently he can sling the ball about 70 yards downfield. So I'm looking pretty excited. I don't know how confident I am. We do have the toughest schedule after the schedule has been released. I don't know if you've seen all the schedules released. Um, I think OU probably has the toughest schedule in the country. It's basically the same schedule we had last year, except we throw Michigan into a non conference spot. So we got Michigan happening in week 2, which is going to be a tough one, and then just a terrible SEC schedule. We're playing Bama, we're playing Tennessee, we're playing Mizzou, we're playing South Carolina, we're playing Ole Miss, Texas, obviously. Like
And
these, and Texas is probably going to be number 1 when we play them.
and all those
So
games other than Ole Miss are either on the road or a neutral site. So that's not great either.
yeah,
The only one
yeah,
that's
it's
at
not
home is
good.
Ole Miss.
So
That's not gonna be.
and also we get LSU at home, so that's
Yeah,
going to be
I mean
good.
that's good.
At
But
the
but
end of
the
the
but
season,
the
in fact, I'm
the
probably
road
going to be
games
at
are
that
tough.
game.
Yeah, the road games are gonna be tough though.
Probably going to be at the LSU game, hopefully.
Get me to
Um,
Tuscaloosa with
I'm
those
excited for
big
that.
old boys. Yeah, yeah. No, I
We
think
get to see. I'll probably get to be in there from Mateer versus Nussmeyer.
yeah, the Nussy boy. We'll see how he looks. Everyone's kind of high on him as well.
Yeah,
As far as my take on what I've been hearing from Norman is, um, defensive line looks like it's going to be ridiculous. And better than it was last season, which I think everybody can agree was probably still the strongest aspect of that defense last season. I mean, the secondary came in pretty decent at times, but I think it was the front guys that really bolstered what everybody else was kind of able to do. Um, Offensive line again is going to be a point of contention for you guys. We'll see how you guys have improved because you need to. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think you need to give that young man some time to do what he does best, which is being a dual threat for a guy that's a little bit, like you said, Baker Mayfield, but taller, very, very much taller than him. But no, great pocket presence. We've seen what he's been able to do on film while he was playing at Washington State. Obviously, the competition that he's playing was not SEC levels, and we just had the same conversation about Dylan Gabriel, and he came from UCF, but he ended up being okay. I mean, no problems, and then he goes to Oregon, and he's still above average, if not great. I mean, I think that you have to kind of eliminate that from the discussion after you've seen what other non-power 5 quarterbacks have done coming into OU as transfer guys. I think that they are a lot better than people give them credit for when you bring up that discrepancy of competition. Sometimes a position like quarterback is just what it is, which is the most important position, and if you can throw it, you can throw it. It doesn't matter who you're throwing to. Because when you go from a non-power 5 to a power 5, you're also going to get better wide receivers, better line. I mean, all those things changed on an upward trajectory when you make that jump, including obviously defensive ability. But if you can squeeze the ball into a hole, those holes are still going to be there. They're just going to probably be a little bit, the timing will be a little bit different because those guys are a little bit quicker. But if you can fit it there and you can identify when it's happening, you'll be fine. And I think, like you said, from all the reports we've seen from very notable sources and inside information and other quarterbacks, they like what they're seeing. So I feel really good about you guys at least having a winning season, if not a shot at going to a big time bowl game or something if things go uncharacteristically well for you guys. Um, is that pretty much on the ball there? You think that's kind of where you're feeling?
yeah. I mean, that's what I'm feeling. I mean, what is the issue that we had last season, right? Like defense was perfect. Defense was perfect, near perfect. I mean, and if anything, any mistakes they made were because they had to be on the field so much.
Yeah.
um, so the one thing that OU was missing last season was offense. competent offense, and a competent quarterback, not to mention 5 wide receivers being out. Um, so if our offense is as good as it seems to be in camp, I think they have a shot of being in the playoffs, possibly having a bye in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
They are going straight back to the. We have to. I guess we need to touch on the fact that they went back to the original plan for the seeding, where they're not going to do the top 4 are necessarily the conference champions. They're still going to have conference champion auto bids, but the seeding now, once all those 12 teams are decided, is going to be based on their CFP ranks. So,
yeah, I like that. I like
last year
that.
we wouldn't have gotten
Arizona
we wouldn't have
State
gotten
or
Arizona
Boise
State
State with a bye.
in the
Yeah,
top 4.
yeah,
Yeah, it would have been like it would have been Texas probably,
yeah.
and Oregon. So
Yeah, I would have
that's what you get.
probably preferred that. No bias there. I probably would have preferred it though. No, I like the new format. I think it's the way it should be, and that's the way these things go. When you identify mistakes, you make changes, and then people get to complain about, boy, if those changes were made my back when my team had a chance at, it would have been different. Just kind of how I feel like if the format of the NBA playoffs was the same as it was in 2012, boy, would we be in trouble. Because I mean that 2-3-2 format was horrible, and I'm glad we're not going back to that anytime soon. But it's the way it should be. When you identify a problem, you make changes. As far as any other college football news, I mean, as far as my team goes, the verdict is still kind of out on quarterback play. I like Dante Moore a lot. I think that's going to be kind of the make or break for us, because everywhere else we've got good stuff going on. Obviously, the loss of Evan Stewart is horrible and makes me want to jump into oncoming traffic because he's such a good wide receiver. So to lose somebody like that to a season-ending injury is really, really rough. But it's Oregon. Well, the one thing we have a surplus of is skill position guys that can go out there and catch the football. So somebody young is going to have to step up, and I like that for us because I think that'll open some doors for us that maybe would not have even been slightly cracked if he hadn't gotten hurt. And sometimes that ends up, showcasing somebody that's young that just needed, that maybe they're just a gamer. Maybe the practices aren't great. Maybe that, maybe they throw them in there, and once somebody's lining up against you that doesn't know all your tendencies because they haven't been practicing with you for 4 months, I mean, maybe time to cook. So I'm feeling good about that. As far as any other local team goes, obviously Oklahoma State still struggling to find their quarterback footing. Everybody was kind of putting their bucket into the Zane Flores basket, but we've been hearing that this Hank Hennessy Henny guy, I mean, he's also in the mix for them, so they're still kind of a problem, but people are thinking that they're going to have a better season. I don't know how, but you know how Mike Gundy is. When his back is against the wall, he'll pull out like an 8 or 7 win season. So that would be kind of probably the ceiling for them, obviously coming off of a conference, a winless conference schedule. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I've got that I know of. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, no, I mean nothing other than the fact that I would bet on Mike Gundy to have 7 wins next season because he does not have back-to-back bad seasons.
It's true. He has not done that, so I like your confidence level there, and I think it'll be Flores. I think Flores will end up being the guy. But
Should be.
yeah, should be the guy. But yeah, so that'll be interesting to watch to see what happens in Stillwater, because now that OU and OSU don't play each other anymore, that's two different situations there. So you heard it here first. Thunder and 7 from me, and Zach likes Thunder and 6. Thunder up, baby. That's all I gotta say. Zach, anything else?
Thunder up.
Thunder up, baby. Good night, Canada.
I'm done here.
This championship's for you, guys. It's for you. Double parade season. Give me 2. Give me 2, baby.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be a big parade.
That's right. God, boy, was that a disaster. Which I was very pleased. But yeah, you guys keep your stick on the ice, and we'll see you for episode 100, and hopefully, we will be talking about parade plans and touching Larry and pouring beer all over ourselves like we're Steve Austin. So Keep stick on the ice for Stoner Sports Radio podcast. I will, as Zach, and see you next time.